Hey guys, this is going to be our weekend meta report to keep you guys updated on what I saw happen over the weekend and some meta trends that Dota Buff as well as Dota 2 Pro Tracker are kind of telling us exactly what's going on in your pubs.
Banana Slam Jam.
The page we're currently looking at on Dota Buff is talking about the trends of heroes and how much they've changed this past week, basically saying how much did their win rate increase from prior to the patch to now. So we can see that some of the biggest changes, especially in the carry role, top three, are Slark, Clinks, and PA. I think PA is the most relevant one at my bracket, where she seems like she's getting picked all the time. While I haven't seen very much Slark and Clinks yet, what I feel about Slark is that he has situations that he previously was not pickable in, that he's now pickable. He's much better at fighting in the mid game now that he gets those 3 Essence Shift stacks from landing pounces, so you can go for the 4-4-1 skill build. I haven't tried him out myself because I still don't necessarily believe in the hero, but I've definitely been seeing an uptick in picks in my games, and the hero doesn't seem that bad, but he's not on my top of my priority list. Now, Clinks is a hero that I also want to try because his win rate has shot from 51% to 55%. They made it so Rocket Barrage does 6 arrows at all levels rather than 3, 4, 5, 6, and that just seems to be what puts this hero this much over the edge. In regards to Tinker, I think the hero is really high quality of life now for the user and also not as bad to play against because now his rearm has a cooldown, so but it gets refreshed by using rearm. So what that means, if you interrupt rearm, that means it's going to go on cooldown for 8, 7, 6 seconds, so you can't just refresh again until you stop canceling it. But then they also made it so it's a lot faster to rearm. So I have seen a few Tinker players, and it has had success in the games that I've seen it. I got a game of Legion in this patch. The 8 dual damage talent at level 10 is a big difference in any game where you have a decent start. I netted like an extra 60 dual damage in the game that I played because of that talent. Definitely very relevant. I've been seeing a lot more Omni Knight. They just buffed literally everything about the hero, and he's always good in pubs because he makes it easy to play the game, right? Very easy, where it's just you're giving somebody a bunch of HP, you're giving them a hard dispel. Guardian Angel is just a very straightforward spell to use, not so straightforward spell to counter. It is dealt with by AoE dispels like Brewmaster, Invoker, maybe even just like a Nullifier, but it's not that straightforward, right? Now we have to look at some of these other heroes, like Ember. His win rate went up a lot, but it didn't actually go anywhere remotely close to 50%. Anti-Mage, I think you just have heroes that want to be on the creep wave are a bit more buffed when they're farming because of the flag creeps. Heroes that kind of fuck off into the jungle got a little bit of a nerf. So let's use this as an opportunity to kind of talk about the impact of the flag creeps, right? So I use Anti-Mage as an example because when he's clearing creeps, he's always there. We're talking about summons heroes, we're talking about illusion heroes, we're talking about heroes that like nuke from really long range and run away like a sniper. These heroes all got slightly nerfed, and all the heroes that also don't really want to lane, they only want to jungle, got slightly nerfed because the flag creep gives you an extra gold worth of bounty every other creep wave, right? And you have to be within 1200 range of the flag creep dying in order to get the gold. So what that really means is that you want to lean towards playing the lanes a lot more. Please don't die for the flag creep. It's nothing amazing, but when we're talking about in lane, you want to use abilities and resources in order to try to secure it. And when we're talking about in game, it just means that all the times where in the past you were debating going jungle or the wave, that it's going to slightly lean in favor of the wave. Really keep that in mind. I also feel like in lane, it allows you to skimp out on maybe that extra set of tangos because you probably spend 30 seconds to a minute between like 2 minutes to 6 minutes with a flag bearer creep or a 3 HP regen on you. So it's definitely, these are just the things you kind of got to look out for, but you'll definitely get a better feel for them by just playing yourself. I definitely think Mars is back. I always think this hero's win rate's pretty low in comparison to how good he is. Like in competitive, his win rate, like I'm saying his pub win rate will be 45%, but he's still picked in competitive. And now his win rate's all the way up to 49%. So that's like a big deal to me on Mars. Now, on the other hand, Undying. We have played a few Undying offlane games. Already mentioned that. I still think it's strong. I'm seeing it a lot more, but I especially think it's strong as 5. A lot of people are spamming it as 5, so that has not changed. Disruptor seems like a hot pick for 5. I've been seeing a lot of him. The glimpse damage is just so nice on a hero that he usually had to choose between damage or glimpse because he wanted to go Thunderstrike or glimpse, but now it feels like you just have that little bit of extra oomph to get those kills in like the early to mid game, when you're like level 6 to level 12. Haven't been seeing too much Slardar. I'm still a huge believer in Witch Doctor offlane, potentially Witch Doctor 5, but I still think Witch Doctor offlane has a lot of potential. Played a game of Doom carry. His win rate's still only 47%, but I've seen a lot of Doom cores that are going like early Midas to make use of the neutral drop. And then like I went Midas, BKB, Octarine, Blink, and just playing off of the fact that this hero, he just scales better because of the Doom cooldown talent. And then eventually the Ags, if you go, I think it's like a 5th, 6th item. You just scale even better, and playing with like an Octarine and a Midas, you're actually super strong. You're just super useful. And the Octarine also enables you to get the refresher and have enough mana to use it. Like my final build was Octarine, BKB, Strength Blink, Refresher, and a Shiva's. And that's like a pretty standard build for Doom, I would say. So for now, these are the top changes throughout 7.32. But I also want to talk about some of the old picks from last patch, and especially what's hot at the highest bracket, because generally, even though a lot of you, I feel like, share the sentiment that if it works at the highest bracket, it doesn't necessarily work at the lower ones, I firmly believe it's a matter of lower ranks having to learn from higher ranks, and if you do play the heroes that are working at higher ranks, it will generally work out better for you. So let's go ahead and just check out what Dota 2 Pro Tracker is telling us is happening at the highest level. So here on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, we see the top heroes in the Immortal bracket, actually the pro level of Immortal bracket, and we're seeing a lot of familiar faces, right? We're seeing a ton of Tiny still. They really only nerfed carry Tiny. I think 4-position Tiny and mid Tiny are the exact same, maybe even better because of the extra damage from Guro. Dawnbreaker, very minimal laning stage nerf. She's not as good against ranged heroes in the early game because of the limited range of Hammer, but you're seeing it here. Her win rate's still insanely high. I still see her a lot. She still feels pretty much like the same hero. Once she hits level 7, she is the same hero. So definitely still strong. Big hero to note from last patch, and this is like red alert status if you guys know how to play Bat or like you want to learn Bat. This might be the most broken iteration of Bat we have seen in like 2 or 3 years. This hero is traditionally insanely strong, and right now he is bonkers, guys. He is bonkers. What they made it is so that your sticky napalm applies stacks, but every time you apply stacks, your sticky napalm's also doing damage. So the hero basically just got like a ton of free damage. It's insane. It cancels blinks. You can effectively harass people out of lane by just sticky napalming them. You don't even have to like right-click them. You don't even have to like commit with Firefly or Flame Break. I think he can be played 3-2, and I've even seen a bit of 5. Faces Void, been seeing a lot of him. He seemed awfully successful in my games. The build seems to be Midas, Maelstrom, BKB. Marcy I've seen a lot, and it's worked in my games, but clearly it's not working. This doesn't particularly surprise me. PA has not been winning the games I play, so I do think PA is much more of a lower MMR pub stomper than she is a pro-level hero. Big emphasis on Undying. I played with Amar yesterday, and the enemy, he's offlane, and the enemy picked a 5-position Undying, and he immediately just started raging, calling the guy like low skill, and basically saying, wow, impressive, pick the broken hero. So clearly Amar thinks like this hero is absolutely busted, and I agree. So that's like nice reassurance there. I've really liked Tusk. Tusk feels super strong. I know I just like skipped over a lot of these heroes that have negative win rates or like below 50%, but I've absolutely loved Tusk. Chen's a little bit tough to work in lower MMRs, I'd say, but he's still picked a lot in mine. So I think like the premier 4 positions right now are Tusk, Airshaker. Okay, so here's Willow, because I'm seeing a lot more Willows in my games. So I feel like those are the premier 4-position heroes. And in terms of carry, I feel like we are seeing a lot of Ursa, Faceless Voids, PAs, Alchemists. TA is still prevalent, but I don't even think it's that impressive. But I feel like the carry role is probably the least established meta at the current point. Offlaners that I think are super potent right now is Enigma. I didn't even have to see this. Like, this is insane to me, but that's an insanely high win rate. I think the best ranged offlaner right now is Enigma, kind of taking over from Viper and Razor. If you're looking to learn Enigma, this is definitely the patch to do it. The Shard is insane. A lot of people are just going like Brown Boots, Aetherlands, Blink Octarine, and buying the Shard, because the Shard, you can stun a creep and just farm the entire creep wave. You can stun a hero, and it just adds a lot of free damage. So they made it so the hero is much better at playing without Black Hole. With Black Hole, he's always one of the most powerful heroes in the game. So as I'm searching around, you know, I'm seeing heroes like Ember that only have 46% win rate, you know, in most pubs, but really high win rates in high MMRs. And I feel like what I'm seeing this patch so far is heroes in the mid lane are active. You can't farm the small camp anymore, so it doesn't benefit you to make that many moves or plays around mid other than the runes. Most things are happening in the side lanes. Side lane cores are they're much higher net worth and levels compared to mid than they were last patch. I'm seeing a lot of mids even drop below offlaners in terms of net worth some games. And it's important to emphasize to you guys that if that's the case, then a lot of carries, they want to be able to contribute to a gank, right? So like heroes like Ursa and PA are much easier to gank for than something like a Spectre. But the thing about Spectre is, that's really nice, is that if you gank the off lane, then Spectre might be able to participate with Haunt. I want you guys to think about how this meta is turning a lot into people ganking side lanes. And it's not that people are like making moves for flag bearer creeps, but they are trying to play lanes a lot longer. And they're putting very little emphasis on mid and trying to make supports take mid, right? Because there's just no extra farm there. So supports, be looking out for your mid laner to rotate. Mid laners, please try to rotate with heroes that are active. The only stationary mids are Midas buyers, maybe like Arc Warden and Invoker, because they didn't really use the small camp anyways. But that's what we've seen so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend meta report from BSJ here. That's me referring to myself in the third person. I'll keep you guys posted. Probably 1 or 2 more meta update videos following this one, and then we'll get back into some regular content with maybe a weekly meta update that I was talking about. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe.